She is the founder of Be Lashed. We are so blessed to have her on this call. She's one of my dear friends, and I am so proud of her. And so take it away, Bree.
Yeah, so hi, guys. So happy to be with you today. What Eneri is doing here and her new business is absolutely amazing. And just to touch on her, I've seen her at work. I don't know if you guys know this, but she's also Mama Eneri to many of us at Church Alive. So naturally, I cannot see her in any other business but this, because it's just what she does. It flows out of her. It oozes out of her. She just loves people. So thank you for having me with you today. Super
You're welcome.
excited.
Thank you.
All of you ladies. But yeah, so I own a small lash studio in North Arlington. We've been here for about 5.5 years now, but I've been doing lashes for probably close to 7.5, almost 8 years. Been in the beauty industry, but lashes have had my heart and my focus for almost all of it. And it's been fantastic being a business owner. It's really exciting, really motivating, but also has its challenges. Not going to lie to you guys. No need to sugarcoat. It's challenging sometimes. To even take it a step further, most times it's challenging. But the reward is so great. And being able to touch so many people and talk into so many people's lives, especially women's, because obviously we do women's eyelashes. It really is such a gift. So if I can encourage any of you, I know some of you put in the chat, most of you do have your own business or are looking to get into your own business, take the jump. And to even say one more thing, don't wait. Because the more time you wait, just start. You don't have to be ready. I wasn't ready. And I think that was one of the best things I could have done was not wait, because you're never really ready, right? I feel like they say that when you're about to have a child or thinking about having a family, it's like, you're never really ready. I think it's the same in business. You're never really ready till you get into it. And that's when you start learning, when you're hands-on and you're in the mess of the day-to-day. It's just fantastic. So definitely excited to talk more with you ladies. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, tell us, how did you start? Like, what was it that made you think, you know what? I have a passion for this. I want to start a business. Like, how did that come about?
So I was in beauty school when I thought I was going to do the bridal industry. So bridal hair, makeup, all of that. And it was a great industry. And I thought, I can make so much money doing this. And I love doing it. But when I got to beauty school and I started kind of gathering all my certificates and all that whatnot for my resume, I took a lash course on a whim just to put it on my resume. And I ended up falling in love with it. And the woman who had trained me actually offered me a job. It was in Montclair. It was in Upper Montclair. I was there for about a year. And she was just opening her business. But the kicker was she didn't really know what she was doing. Neither did I. We were learning at the same time. Wow. She actually put me in charge of majority of her business. So I was really learning the ropes there. And I was running events and taking clients and running phones and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And after about a year, I thought to myself, I can do this at home. I can do this for myself. We both learned a lot, and we just started kind of veering apart from one another. Okay. I wanted to do business slightly different, and she wanted to do it a slightly different way. And by that time, people started learning that I was doing lashes. So I had quit that place. I didn't take any of those clients because I think when you are a business owner, it's important to be honorable too.
Yes.
Please be honorable in your business. I think most of us are Christian women here. And I think that's such a beautiful value to have, just to be honorable. God is honoring.
So
and
good.
Rightfully for us to be honoring as well. So I didn't take any of the clients from there. I left them all in Montclair. I started out of my house because I was like, hey, we're just going to start where we're starting, and it's going to be my living room. So the living room in my mom's house became my lash studio. And thankfully, my mom was okay with it. I set up a bed from Amazon. I had no money. I had no idea what I was doing. And I had this client. I don't know where she found me. to this day, I can't even tell you how she got my name or my number. And she was the most loyal client. She referred me to so many people. And I really think it was such a gift from God, because I still can't tell you where she found me from. I don't know. But she was so loving, and she became a family member to me, honestly. And she pointed me to so many people. And it got to the point where it was too big for my house. And my mom was like, Brianna, I love you, but whatever you're doing in my living room, I need my living room back. So you have to figure out what's happening here, because it's not happening here anymore. I was like, okay. So
that's awesome.
That's when we ventured out. And I was like, okay, I say we a lot, but it was me. I like to include my sister. She works with us as well. So if you hear me say we, it's usually me, but she's a big role in everything. She's my sounding board. So I looked for a shop, and there was actually a store up the block from where I lived. And we're still here to this day. 2 blocks up from where I grew up, my childhood home. And it worked out perfectly. And we moved in here. And one thing I always like to tell people, because we teach classes here too, and everyone's always like, well, I don't have all thousands of dollars to open up a store or kickstart my business or, launch my website. I think I had about $600 in my pocket when I signed the lease, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to work, but I got faith that it's going to work. And I have faith that God's going to carry me through this, because I do believe this is my calling and this is my ministry, to pour into these women this way. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I started buying things, and I was like, I'm going to make it look the best I can. And it was empty in here for a while, but the people weren't coming here for my salon. They were coming here for the service I was providing, and also the relationship I was providing. Because when you come, it's not just a service. I think people want more than that. And I think people do come to you for services because they also like you. They also want what you have. They want your knowledge, your relationship. So I kept growing in clients. It took about 3 months to open our store. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, because our store was think of the most hideous color of yellow. That's what our whole store was painted. And I was like, Lord, you're really making me work for this. It took 3 long months of painting and spackling and grinding these walls down to something beautiful. Yeah, and it's been such a journey, and it really has been something. But to say all that, you don't need a lot of money to start your business either. I just want to get that myth out of there. You can do it if you are determined to do it. And if you're focused on succeeding and achieving your goal, nothing is going to stand in your way.
That's so good. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I remember a message that we heard long ago from both of our pastors, like, do it afraid.
Yeah.
We hinder ourselves from our own thinking or fears or apprehensions, or even the words of others who mean well, but they're just kind of shadowing or whatever their fears on you. And it's like, no. You do your part, God will do his. I'm a faithful believer in that. But yeah, do the learning. I mean, there's just so much tools at our fingertips right now that are free. I mean, there's just so much information on YouTube, Twitter, you name it. It's out there on how to do something. So learn it well. If you're passionate about something, write it down. Start writing down your ideas, journal. Anything that comes to your head, no idea it's a bad idea. It just means that you have to flush it out. But as you're writing things down, the word says write the vision and make it plain. So start writing it down. Start writing down all those ideas. Network with other people. That's where you'll get pushed out of your comfort zone and start taking steps. Even if it's just one step a week, that's one step closer than you were last week. And as you continue, you'll see, just like Brianna, it's like, wow, who would have thought when you first started that you would be where you are right now, in a position to now hire other people for her business and continue to expand. So just start somewhere. So that is so good. I'm going to open it to the ladies. If you have a question for Brianna, feel free. just raise your hand, whether like this or with the little emojis. Let me just look at the chat and see. Yes, amazing for sure. Just such a good story. And this could be your story. Yeah. I mean, it's like anybody can do something like this. Just because it may take a lot of work doesn't mean you can't do it. Yeah. It's like when I started, it's been 7 months. I mean, I've been coaching people for years, just as like Brianna said, it's just kind of comes out of me as part of who I am, my makeup. But I never thought of it as a business. I worked for 25 years in my last company. I started as an admin and worked my way up to where it was organizational change management. So that was my forte. That was what my group did. So that was like, I had a work role and a home and ministry role, but I never thought that what I did for ministry could be a business. So you never know. And that's why it's so important to write your ideas down. Man, what are you passionate about? What makes you just smile when you're doing it? Because when you do that, it's not work. It just makes you smile. It makes you happy. It brings you joy and fulfillment. And I'm a big proponent of that. Know your purpose and figure out what brings you joy and fulfillment. And then whatever you do, then it won't be work. It's a passion that kind of flows out of you just naturally. And that's where you're like, oof, wait a minute. Oh, I can do this for my job, for my career. What? I can help people. I can help them grow. I can help them get unstuck. That's what brings me joy and fulfillment. That's what makes me get up every morning and know that, man, I created this platform so that women, could feel encouraged. And that's the whole reason behind these calls, because if I can do it, you can do it. Single parent my son's 28 now. I just got married, 4 years ago is going to be. I never would have thought that as a single parent, I would have a business one day. Yeah, I had a dream. I had aspirations, but most of us know when we become parents, it's no longer about us, it's about the kids. So could they kind of take over our life, which is okay, right? But we have to have that balance. So I've learned a lot over the years with my job, when I was in my company for all those years. And God closes one door, he'll open another one, but we still have to walk through it. We still have to take that step. So if you need encouragement, this is the cause for you. So yeah, any questions, please feel free for Brianna, and because I have plenty, but I want to hear from you guys.
I think we have one in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I know Lenny just raised her hand too. So Lenny, you can come off mute, and then we'll ask. Let's see. My question. Oh, let's hold that thought, Lenny. Did you ever feel like giving up? And if so, how did you overcome that feeling? Really great question.
That is a really great question. Yes, obviously. Yes. Yes. I don't want to say I feel it often, because I think I don't actually feel often like giving up, which is a great thing. And I'm so blessed that I don't feel that way, because I really do love what I do. But like I said in the beginning, there are challenges that you face a lot. And I remember when we were opened for probably about a year, we were still fairly new. My sister is my receptionist, and she's also my manager. So she, does all of our phone calls, emails, our books, everything. And honestly, when people come here and my clients, we start speaking, they become family in a way, and they get to learn a lot about me and my sister, but we also learn a lot about them. And this one client in particular knew that she was my sister. And, there's some crazy people out there, fam. There's some crazy people out there. And she was our client for about a couple months, and she had left, and she wrote us a terrible, terrible review on Yelp. And it really gutted me when I read it, because it wasn't even about me. It was about my sister. And I don't know about you guys, but like my family, like I'll fight to the death for my family. Like oh my gosh, especially my sister, she's my best friend. So when I read that, I was like even more hurt because it wasn't even like she was attacking me, which I could swallow and keep pressing on. It was about her. And I was like, ugh. And I remember in that moment, I was like, maybe I should just like close it down and stop all this and, you know, be done with it. And then, you know, after I thought about it, I was like, okay, that's crazy. I'm not going to let her win.
Yeah.
It's just an attack.
Yeah.
And I know my business. I know my sister isn't like that. It's just lies. And we don't stand for lies. So I had a talk with my sister because obviously she was upset too, you know, and actually went to Yelp and had them take down the review because I was like, this is false. Every bit of information is false. And my sister is actually a minor at the time. So they had to legally take it down, which was like win-win.
Yeah.
But I did think of giving up in that moment just because that situation hurt so badly. But I actually, when you ask that question, it actually reminds me of Ephesians 6, verse 7, where it says, work with enthusiasm as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people.
So good.
And I can't tell you how many times I've gone back to that verse and just had to remind myself in times when, you know, you get aggravated at work sometimes, or you get annoyed with, because people are people, right? We're flawed. So sometimes it's really easy to get just frustrated with them. And I have to go back to that verse and remind myself like, hey, we're not giving up. We're not throwing in the white flag. We just have to remind myself that I'm not doing this for people. Yes, it is for them essentially.
It's a service. Yeah.
I'm working for God and this is all for his glory, even if it is lashes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and we are going to have moments where I mean, I don't want to say attack, but yeah, people, like you said, people are people, and you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I would hope that if anyone has an issue with your business or yourself, that they would actually let you know so that you can correct if there's an issue to correct. But there are going to be some people who, no matter how great you are and what a servant heart you may have, they're going to feel some type of way because of their own issues, insecurities, etc. And so that's what we have to guard our heart and realize that not everything is meant for us. And it's like, okay, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Is there a way I can fix it? But if not, you have the option not to come back here. You know what I mean? It's like, because you can't, there's no way you can be all to everyone. You can try your best and we can try to get better. That's growth. Because I see people post things on different businesses and I'm like, man, that doesn't look like it was about the service, more about your preference.
Right.
So there's a difference between someone was just their service was horrible and okay, you prefer this XYZ, then you should have stood where you were getting that service there where you got XYZ. Yeah. But it's hard because we take it personal, obviously. And you want people to like you, right? And like your services, like your company, like you as a person. So those things do hurt. But I love what you said, just keeping clarity and keeping the main goal. The why, always go back to but why are you doing this? Why? Don't allow others to tear you down because of their issues and insecurities. Remember the why you're doing it, why you're showing up to, like you said, first God, then people. It flows out of that. You're trying to help people. You're trying to provide a great service, etc. So for all of you who either have a business, want to have a business, or even in your day-to-day, because we have these type of things in our day-to-day life. There's people who we think are friends who turn out not to be friends, etc. And I'm like, remember the why. Remember the why, and remember that hurt people hurt other people. It doesn't give them, it doesn't make it okay. Let's just say that. Address it, but it's their choice to be in your life or not to be in your life. It's your choice to have them to be in your life or not have them be in your life. But it's having that healthy balance and having that communication. And some people will not want to communicate because they're great at posting and trolling your Instagram and putting negative things, but they wouldn't say that to your face.
Yeah.
They won't. So it's like, but you wouldn't say that to my face, but you posted that. Like, really? So, and then that shows a lot about that person.
That's true.
So we have to like just be mindful of there's gonna come adversity your way, but that's okay. You've got this. You'll get better. And for me, it's like having some people in your life to remind you and to encourage you that bad negative review or negative somebody said, etc., doesn't define who you are, doesn't define your business, doesn't define the steps that you're going to take. Well, maybe to get better at certain things, but you know what I mean. All right. Any other questions for Brianna or myself? Feel free to chime in. Go ahead.
I have a comment. There might be a question in here somewhere, but I think in listening to everything that's been said so far, you know, my idea of wanting to be this mobile notary, you know, came from, you know, just wanting to bring an extra stream of income for first and foremost, right? And so with my line of work, it makes sense. Right. You know, and my thought process was geared towards closings, home closings, right? Because that's what I do for work. But the startup, right? The initial start, I haven't started in the direction of actually taking the steps to make anything happen yet. I have a person who's been doing it for so many years, so I have them as a resource. Mm-hmm. And I think at the back of my mind, if everybody here pretty much knows me and knows that I'm like juggling a billion one things. And so, but yet and still, I think there is a little bit of fear behind all of this because it's something I've never, you know, dealt with. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, how am I going to make it work with time? Is it going to bring any stream of income fast enough for me? Or just like these little thoughts in the back of my head. How am I going to make this work in general? Right. So kind of getting over that hump, over that fear of not allowing my thoughts to distract me from this possibility of who knows where it's going to go. Right. But if I don't start somewhere, I'll never find out. Right. So I guess maybe the question would be like in moments where you may still feel fear, or maybe in the beginning before you started your business, how did you kind of get over that? And what tools do you use to kind of get over that moment of fear, you know, of the unknown?
So
was that
no, it was good.
It's a good question. Yeah.
I was just talking to someone who is about to start a business. And when I was speaking with them, it sounded like they were just afraid of failing, which I think obviously is a common thought in everyone's head. When you start a business, it's like, what if this doesn't work? Like, what if I prepare all of this, it doesn't work? What if I do all this and make all these posts and tell all my friends and tell my family and it fails? And I told that person, I was like, and so what if it fails?
Exactly.
So what if it fails? I mean, of course, it's going to be a little saddening. It's going to be like, oof, that really hurt. But I think first and foremost, we believe in a God who has plans for us, which are grand, and he's just going to work this into the plan if it fails. And secondly, if it fails, there's so many other things we can do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This world, this life, like it's such a gift. So I feel like it's going to be scary. I'm not going to lie to you. That feeling may not go away till you actually launch the business. I still feel scared, you know, sometimes with certain clients, certain events we do. But at the end of the day, I'm like, if this fails, I gave it my best, and there'll be something else that I can do. I know there will be. I will be sad, but I gave it my best, and that's all I have to work with. And I think when I feel fear creeping in, which is actually something I just started doing in my store. I can't believe it took me this long to do it, but because we deal with a lot of people, sometimes, you know, people come in with some heavy stuff that they lay on us, because it sometimes turns into a therapy session, like a lash therapy session, which is fantastic. But sometimes I feel like some of their heaviness actually comes off on me, and then I feel like I'm
Got to be careful. Yeah.
Carrying that. Yeah. So one of the things I started doing was praying. You know, you pray over your business from time to time, but I started making it a habit that every week, you know, I close the door, lock the door, put on worship, and I touch and pray boldly and confidently. And I plead the blood over everything that clients may touch in this room, especially the lash bed, especially my seat, the doorway. I anoint this place. And I'm like, God, if there's anything here that is feeding into this fear and anxiety that I'm feeling,
come on,
we're going to pray it out in Jesus' name. And I'm telling you, each time that I do it, every week that I do it, it's like a burden gets lifted off of me every single week. So I would even say start in your house. Who cares if there's no place of business yet? Start in your house. And any kind of fear or depression or grief or anxiety, anything that's starting to settle on your mind or your family's home or wherever you're thinking and having these business thoughts, I would just pray over it. And that fear, send it right back down to the pit of hell where it belongs.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I want to add to that, which is amazing, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Find someone who does what you want to do and ask them to be a mentor. Because they've been there, done that. And you'll be amazed how many people will be willing to share their expertise with you. They just want to share what they've been through. And so that'll then help you be like, oh, okay, if they did it, I can do it too. And like I said before, start writing stuff down. Even if it's one thing a week, do that one thing a week. That'll get you closer to your goal. But I'm a big proponent of mentors. I've had so many over my life and I still have some now, and I will till the day I die because it doesn't matter how old you are. We all need mentors. We all need people to encourage us and who've been there, done that, and could share their wisdom with us. So we are going to experience fear. We're human. And I've spoken to people who even do public speaking for a living, preachers, just people in business, who even before they go up, and they've been doing this for 20, 30 years, they still feel that, but they do it afraid. And then it just flows. Because when you do your part, you get prepared, then it starts flowing out of you. But do it afraid. And then you'll come to a place where like, oh, okay, now it's repetitive. Now you're getting the hang of it. So don't allow fear to paralyze you. Don't allow that analysis paralysis to happen in your life, because I think we've all kind of gone through it at some point. Just start preparing yourself day by day. Just get it in you, get the knowledge, get the learning, reach out to people, network. I mean, there's so many tools, like I said, at our fingertips these days to help us equip ourselves with what we need to move forward. But don't wait. Don't wait, because too much. It's like Brianna said before, we're never truly fully ready. There's always going to be something that you do different. I've spoken to people who are in business who still are doing new things, because you have to start thinking strategically. Okay, this worked, this didn't work. How would you didn't try?
Exactly.
And that's one of the things when I hear so many women have all these ideas of dreams that they want to do. And I always go back to, let's make sure it is your real dream. Do you want to do this because everybody else is doing it? Or do you want to do it because you're passionate about it? Because when there's passion and there's purpose behind it, it's not going to be, it doesn't mean that, boom, you're going to have it instantaneously. You have to work for it. But at least you're working for it, knowing that, man, I am passionate about this. Whether I get $10 or $10,000, I am passionate about it, and I'm going to continue doing it because it's going to pay dividends. That makes sense? It's like, but it has to be your real dream, what you're passionate about, because people will see when it's something that is really within you, you're passionate about, then when, okay, you're just doing it to make money. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we need to do certain things. You need to have that side hustle to make a few extra bucks. I get that. We live in a time where things are hard. But when it is something that you are passionate and have purpose drives. purpose just drives and people can see, man, I want to know more about that because she lights up when she talks about this thing. Speaking to my old boss yesterday, and we stay in touch. She's been a great mentor and friend. And she was like, the moment I start talking about the Midday Brew or what I'm doing with my business, she's like, you totally like light up, because she was worried after me being 25 years in my company. She was like just trying to find me another job in that company. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think that's what I'm meant to do. And I could allow fear to just totally grab a hold. It's not like I'm 20, I am 53 and have been in that company for 25 years and in corporate, I think for like 30 plus years. So going from corporate to, I want to be a life coach because that's my heart. I love helping people. I love helping people get unstuck. And I do it like every day. It just kind of comes out of me. But they were like, oh, but are you sure? Like, so I've had people, well-meaning, intentioned people who are trying to point me in the right direction, but we're starting to trickle that fear on me. Like, oh, well, maybe I should get a job. Maybe I should stay in corporate. Maybe. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. If not now, then when? If not now, then when? Ask yourself that. And start getting out of your comfort zone. Because if it's not meant for you, God will help you pivot. Your friends who are there mentoring you and coaching you will help you see things in a different light. But if not now, then when? You got this. You can do this. All right. Any other questions? Sorry about that. I get on a tangent because it's something I'm really, really passionate about. But any other questions?
I have a question.
Oh,
go ahead, Eleni.
Which I know you, but I wanted to throw it out there for other people that are not asking questions. So I think it's a two-part question. One is I do love the fact that you do pray over your business and that you anoint every area of your business. But throughout the day, how do you incorporate God in your business while clients are coming in and out of your establishment? And two, how do you unapologetic stand for truth, right? It's like, let's say, like, have you ever faced where a client say, hey, can you turn that off? Like if you do have worship music, or if you are speaking about faith, and I don't know if this happened, but if it hasn't happened, I know that you're strong in faith and stands for truth, but I hope this is making sense to what I'm saying. So yeah, so how do you unapologetics obviously stand for your truth, because you are a woman of God, and you have incorporated God in your business and everything. And I believe in every area you do life, God is first and always. And then how would you handle a conflict like that, where it's like maybe you do have a client where they say, hey, like this is bothering me. And then my other question is, how do you manage your booking? Not manage all your booking, but like, do you have time where you do have time where you do take a lunch? Like, yes, business is important and stuff like that, but how do you self-care yourself in a sense where it's like healthy you will keep your business running with like those little things, like eating lunch, taking the break that you need. And I apologize for all these questions in one, but that's basically, so that's my thought process right now. That's what I'm thinking of.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Bree.
So good. I'll tackle the lunch thing first, because I'm still learning that. Still working on that one. My sister actually has encouraged me with my bookings. She runs all my bookings. So it got to the point where I wasn't taking a lunch for a long time. And she was like, Brianna, no offense. My sister is a straight shooter. If she was here, I'd bring her on, because she's the opposite of me. I'm like, everything's going to be fine. She's like, everything's not going to be fine. We need a plan. We need that. I'm like, all right. So we work very well together. But she was like, Brianna, you're not younger. You need to start factoring in breaks and snacks and stretching and things like that, because you're going to sit in that chair for 9 hours a day, because she knows me, and I'm not going to get up, and I'm just going to do client after client after client. And she's like, no. So a couple years ago, she actually shifted my books and made them in a certain way where when people book, I actually have 15 minutes or so to play with after each client. So I have time to go to the bathroom. I have time to stretch. I have time to eat a protein bar or my lunch, which has been fantastic because I wouldn't have done it for myself, just being honest with you guys. So that has helped tremendously. And I think, being a Christian woman in business also has its challenges because not everyone is a Christian or believes in God or believes in another religion. So we have encountered many different clients who, they're not on the same page as you with what you believe in and, who your God is. And actually, I feel like it's been great, as crazy as that sounds, because I've been able to point people to Jesus because they have the wrong idea of him and they have the wrong idea of what Christianity is like. Mm-hmm. So because they know about my faith, because I usually post stuff about RW, I sometimes play worship music, like not all the time because I like music without sound because then the clients go to sleep and it makes my job better. But I will play lo-fi Christian music. So it won't have words, but I'll know what the song is. They won't. So if they ever ask, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's lo-fi Christian music, and I'll send them that. But we have had some clients who, have said things like, oh, this actually happened a month or so ago. Oh, my family member is gay. I know you don't stand for that though. And I'm like, hey, wrong idea. I don't stand for it. That's correct. Doesn't mean I don't like your family member. I don't even know who this is, but it doesn't mean I don't love or like that person. I love and like that person. I just don't agree with the sin that they're in right now, which is homosexuality. But that doesn't mean we can't still have a relationship. Doesn't mean I see that person on the street and would disregard them. No, I love that person still. That's where the disconnect was in that conversation. And when she was able to realize like, oh, it's not that you don't like them. You just don't like the sin that they're in right now. She was like, oh my gosh, I thought like you guys just hated people who did any type of sin, and sin meaning like lying, murder, like all of that. And it's like, no, it's not that. I don't know if this is making sense. It's not that we don't like that person. It's just, hey, we don't agree with this sin. Let's work and find a way out of this. And let's help you get into true freedom, right? Which is walking with Jesus Christ. So that's been like some of the conversations we've had. We do have clients sometimes where they'll curse and they're like, oh, I know you don't curse, you're a Christian. And it's like, hey, like, I'm not gonna, shame you for it. Just, hey, maybe we don't use that type of language when you're here. And maybe I encourage you not to use it when you leave.
Good.
It's not that you completely deter the person out of your life, it's just rerouting.
But that actually shows respect, that they're respecting you and your establishment because of already the foundation you've laid out from the first time they've come to your establishment. So that's really awesome.
Absolutely.
So good. So good. Yeah. We love God. We love people, all people. It's funny because it reminded me what Pastor Anthony says, that Christianity it's the true Christianity is the most inclusive place there is because God loves everybody. So people have like this warped view of what Christianity really is, unfortunately, because some Christians have made it that way, some so-called Christians. So I totally get that. But I also wanted to add, hey, your establishment, your rules, your guidelines. Yes, we respect all people. But let's say if I had an office outside of my home, I would probably also play worship music as well. And I wouldn't want people to just start cursing in there either, but out of respect for me, people typically say the same things like, oh, like I have family members that do that. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's like, I appreciate you being respectful, and catching yourself, in my presence, but I understand that that's part of your vernacular every day, but respect it in my space. Thank you. So, but like I said, your business, your guidelines, and people have a choice to come in and hear that. They have a choice not to come in and go elsewhere. That doesn't mean that you're excluding. It's just that people need to respect your space. Just like they need to respect your home. You have rules and guidelines in your home. Like you don't want people, I know some of us don't want people like trampling on our sofa. So when you have the same in your place of business. So I think any place of business, and again, coming from corporate, there's guidelines that we need to follow when you're in that place of business. So you have to conduct yourself a certain way. So it goes for any other business out there. Marie, you have a question?
I don't really have a question, but I just think it's great. Like Bree, everything you mentioned is really, really good. But I just feel like for Lenny, with you being kind of like back and forth, it's like starting. I know it's like tough. And like Bree said, like if you do fail, like it's still okay. Like you took a risk, like, you know, you had courage to do it, you know, start with like baby steps. Like I started with like writing things down, and then the next day maybe watch a YouTube or just start a website. Like there's so many free websites out there, because you don't want like time to pass, and time does pass very fast, and think like, man, I should have, could have, would have, but I didn't, you know? And even in the coffee business, like there's a lot of people doing coffee and selling coffee in coffee shops. It's a big business, you know, but it's just starting small and, you know, not comparing myself to other businesses because, you know, I just started off, but learning. And like Eneri said, to find someone that's doing it so they can like mentor me and Vin and help us to do it like better, you know? So I would just encourage you, just do it. Like, I think people would love that. You going mobile and notarizing documents. I think that's great. I really think you should just start somewhere. Like, even if it's starting a website and it's not published yet, but start working on it. Like, there's just something, it starts like working something in you. Like, yeah, I want to keep doing more and more. And the whole thing with Bree talking about like Christian music and all that. So we just did new bags, Vin and I, and we put a Bible verse in the back. And it's also, although like, you know, we're big in our faith, but it's also like, you know, in the coffee industry, there's a lot of hipsters and different type of like coffee drinkers. But like Bree, how she prays over her seats and all that, like we've prayed over the bags. We're like, Lord, even if this person is a non-believer, like help them to feel curious, or I don't know, just something, or maybe make their day, you know, like it's not like throwing it in your face, like, oh, I'm Christian here, you have to believe in God, but like, just, you know, who knows, you know? So I think it's important to like, you know, show God's love, you know, because that's in us, you know, regardless. Even if someone doesn't know we're Christian, they'll just see there's something just different about us because our love for God. But I think, you know, it's really great. And Bree, you've been very encouraging. So thank you for
thank
sharing.
you. Thank you for that, Marie.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for that encouragement. Sometimes also when we get into the wanting to do something that everybody else is doing too, that comparison mindset, what can I do differently that will make me stand out, right versus everyone else. So that was a good point that you brought up. I didn't think about that, but I do have a name. Ever since I had the idea months ago, I did come up with a name, so I still have it in my head. So the seed has been planted. I just got to now take action towards taking that step, right? So I thank you for everyone who gave me like little tips. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. So that is a celebration point right there. All right. Who else? We have a few more minutes before we close the call. And I want to make sure I get everyone's questions in or comments.
I just have a comment.
Yes, Iana. Hi.
Hi. I just have a comment. Like, so great. Everything that you shared, Brianna, has been so amazing. And I just want to also say, like, God is so good because, again, like, there's always like something that I get from these meetings. And Marie, like your point about like getting discouraged sometimes when you see other people doing what you want to do, it's so hard to get over that. And like, I was thinking about that the entire call, like, you know, the things that I want to do. It's like, there's so many people doing it. Like, how do you stand out? But I really love that tip of like, just starting like maybe like with a website and just going from there, like taking little steps, because it's so, what is it? Like, you just feel like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do that's going to be different? Like, it's been done so many times. And just getting over that fear can be really hard. I mean, fear alone is like such a big block, but I appreciate that, Marie, because that was like really awesome. I was thinking about thinking about it the entire time. And like you mentioned that, and it's just like, wow, God, okay.
Yeah, because it's the big thing, you know. You always like, you want to you don't want to compare yourself, you know. You want to just look at it as like, cool, this is how I want my Instagram to look. This is how I would love, like, you know. So it's kind of like looking at it as like, wow, they're doing what I inspired to do one day. And instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, like that pressure of like, how can I be different, how can I be better, it's like, just be you. You know, just be, start off small. Like, I don't have many followers on the coffee page, and I haven't been posting so much because I'm also planning a wedding and all these things. But I'm going to just put out a video just to kind of say, hey, look, we have new bags. And, you know, there are going to be people like, oh, look at this girl, or like, you know, whatever, or don't like it, or whatever they, you know, their opinions. But you just keep doing it, and keep being faithful and praying about it, that God will open the door. Like, I believe like one day, like, a lot of people are going to know MB Beans, you know, and going to feel encouraged, not just like, oh, this is great coffee, but, you know, who knows what doors God is going to open. But I don't focus on like, oh my gosh, look at this coffee business. Look what they're doing. Oh, somebody just, it's kind of like, wow, Lord, like, that's what I hope to be one day. And help me get there, and kind of like admiring it, instead of like feeling like, darn, like, now what do I have to do to like top that, you know? And it's like, that's what I feel like, that where that pressure comes, and that fear, and then you going through the hole, and it's just like, forget it, I shouldn't do it at all. But no, it's like, cool, like, admire it, and just, you know, keep doing you, and write things down. Nobody could ever be you. So, you know, just keep doing it. You'll get there, girl. I believe in you.
Yay. Yeah.
Actually, to piggyback off of what you just said too, Marie, no one is you. And I know you guys have heard this quote, no one is you, and that's your superpower. And I think when we take the pressure, I guess, off of ourselves, and just be ourselves, and be funny and quirky, how we would normally be, I think people see the gold in that, and they're attracted to that. And even though there's a ton of people in each industry is saturated, right? But no one is you. And I think that's why each of us stand out in what we do.
I agree. Yeah, so good. So good.
I just want to add one more thing. And I think it's just as a reminder, as platforms like this just give you permission to keep showing up, and community, because it is very lonely to build something from the ground up outside of, you know, the Lord is right by us at all times, but it can be very lonely. So it can force you to think a little bit differently, give up, not be present, not anoint your space, not do those things. But when you come in community such as this, it just reminds you of the superpower that you do have, and the gift. So thank you for this platform.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's the whole, one of the premises behind these calls is to help women feel encouraged that you can do it too. And that there's always a tribe of women that are willing to help you get there. You don't have to do it alone. There's power in community. There's power in sisterhood. So if you get nothing else from here, know that, like Bree said, you can do it. You can do it, and no one is you. That's your superpower. It's not about comparison. It's about what you're bringing, and who might be a little bit different than everybody else, maybe the same, but there's always a niche audience for you. That makes sense?
Amen.
Yeah. So with that, we have a minute left. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. I hope this call was encouraging. I hope this call helped you get just a little bit fire to do something different this week that will start helping you take steps towards your goal. Even if that's watching a YouTube video. Just, it's time to get out of our comfort zone, ladies. If not now, then when? Mm-hmm. So thank you, Brianna. Thank you for being a speaker today. And yeah, I love these calls, and I hope that they really help you move forward, and let others know that we're here, and it's a safe place and space for you to share your ideas on what you want to do. And hopefully we'll have more later on as far as these calls go on. we plan to introduce other things to help you, other resources. And we typically do share other resources that may help you here. So this is a place to ask those questions. Thank you. Thank you all. Amazing. You have a blessed day, and see you in 2 weeks, ladies.